G'day, welcome to another podcast episode of Fearless Singer. I have got the bloody legendary, I think you're legendary, Victoria Watson on the podcast. Now, Vic and I go way back. I remember being a young 20-something, new to the Brisbane music scene, and watching the Fondells on the stage.
That's right.
And just being blown away by all the beautiful harmonies, that 60s girls pop, and also that there was this amazing drummer who could drum and sing and hold harmonies.
I don't know how I did that. I really don't.
Don't know how you...
I smoke ciggies too.
Wow.
And I tried getting on the kit maybe a few months ago, and I could barely get through one song. I don't even smoke ciggies anymore. So I don't know how I did it, but, you know.
Just, yeah, maybe you were doing a lot of cardio at the time.
Maybe
that's what was keeping you fit.
Maybe. Yeah, maybe I should just get back on the drums.
I don't even know how you even play bass and sing at the same time.
Well, it's funny because I was playing guitar in the Umbrellas, and then we had this gig, and Deb, who was playing bass, just had an absolute freak out on stage, and she just put her bass down and walked off, and so we were kind of just left there just going, what the fuck? And then she decided she just didn't want to play bass anymore, and then we were a three-piece, and my guitar really, really sucked, and Richard's bass wasn't that great. And then halfway through a set, we just decided to swap, and I just started playing bass. And then I kind of, because I was singing, I had to write or learn to play bass and sing at the same time. So write really basic kind of bass. But then I just ended up, I can't really play anything else. That's
wow, you're amazing. You're amazing that you could just literally swap instruments at a gig and then just start to play.
Yeah, my dad played bass, so, and I had, tinkered a little bit with bass, but yeah, I was better at bass than guitar.
Oh,
much better at bass than guitar.
You now also play the ukulele.
Yeah, I love it because I don't have to get off my couch.
Yes. Oh, I love
it. I just sit
me
back
too.
And sing, all sorts of songs, folk songs, everything. Love it.
I just like just picking at something
it's
while
a
I'm
beautiful
watching
instrument.
TV.
Yeah. It's really relaxing. And I used to diss the ukulele before,
I think a lot of people do.
Yeah, well, I was kind of I said to Syme, I was like, I want to play another instrument, and maybe I should just pick up the guitar again. And but I was like, I need a baby guitar. And he's like, what about the ukulele? And I'm like, no. And then he's like, no, come and have a look. I found all these really cool ukuleles, and there's electric ukuleles and blah, blah, blah. And so I had a look, and I was like, oh my God, I could plug that in and make really cool sounds, put them through pedals. And
you do.
Yeah,
you actually have
so much fun.
So Vic has a project called Uke and Bake.
Yeah.
How did that come about, Victoria?
So my husband and I were sitting at our bar in the rumpus room, and we were a bit tipsy, and he was like, you know how you like to sing songs on your ukulele now, and you write songs on your ukulele, and you like to bake? Well, you should do a show where it's called You Can Bake, and you bake stuff and play ukulele. And I was like, oh my God, that's such a great idea. And then
it's so embarrassing. I've only just got it. You can bake.
Yeah.
You can bake.
You can bake. What?
Oh my God.
What do you mean?
I'm terrible at any kind of puns or jokes, or I didn't get it. You can bake.
You can bake, yeah.
Everyone's like, yeah. Oh my God, we got it the first time.
I don't know, maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe, I don't know.
I don't know why I didn't. I just thought it was the ukulele.
It was our drunken minds.
Yeah.
You can bake.
Yeah, and I love it because so I'm going to do an introduction for this separately, but I'm just going to say again. So Vicky has been in so many different bands here in Brisbane, starting back in the 90s was the Umbrellas?
No, it was first the Genies, and we were an all-girls 60s garage band, and I just sang, and that was about 94.
Oh, wow.
95. And
I thought you'd still be in primary school in 94.
No, I finished in 91.
Wow. Yeah.
I'm an old bird now.
You don't look it, mate. That's what, I think that's what rock and roll does to you. Keeps you young.
Oh, yeah. And not having kids.
Yeah.
Actually, I think that actually maybe does kind of keep you young. Although cats. I've got cats, and I swear I've got more wrinkles now because they wake me up every night with the paw.
What's tapping you on the face?
Oh, bloody oath.
Oh.
Yeah.
Wow.
Every night.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, for 8 years.
Gosh, that is like having a kid.
Yes.
Then.
Yeah. I do. I swear I do have more wrinkles. It's really annoying.
Yeah. Well, you're looking
But
great.
they're beautiful.
I know. Cats are just phenomenal. So, yeah. So you started off with the genies and then the Emperellas. Yeah. And then the Fondells, or was there another band?
No, it was the Emperellas, and then there was a band called Cupid Doll, and I just sang. And then it was the Fondells.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, hang on. Or maybe it was Emperellas and Fondells.
I feel like I think you were doing Emperellas at the same time.
Yeah. And then it was Cupid Doll, and then Some Jerks. Oh, but I did play in Lucy Star Satellite as well for a little bit.
Oh, cool.
Yeah,
what was that band?
That was with Deb and Craig from Brindle.
Yep.
And it was pretty bad actually. So we were getting married, and they were having their album launch, and I had barely practiced because, you know, I was getting married, so I was planning all this stuff, and I knew the songs, and then we had their album launch, and I feel really bad about this, but I ended up with a migraine, so I couldn't see anything, and I was playing, and I played with my back to the audience because I couldn't focus, I couldn't think of what the notes were, and I would just like strum like one note, and then after that I was like, oh my god, I'm never doing that again. And they never asked me back.
I think a lot of people can relate
really
to that.
And I felt bad for them. I felt bad for them because I felt really really bad.
But listen, this is a great, you know, thing to share because we all bloody make mistakes.
Yeah.
You know, or things happen to us, you know, when we are our instrument, you know, and, you know, whether you're singing or, you know, playing the guitar. And sometimes your body does do weird stuff. Like right now I'm finding it really hard to focus looking at your face because of my trippy wallpaper behind you.
Trippy wallpaper is so cool though.
I feel like my eyes are going in all different directions, but I'm just going to go with it.
How's it like when you're drunk?
I just try to avoid it. Just don't come into this room.
I love it though.
No, but I think it's really important to share that because I think and I think, you know, it's so funny. A lot of us will stop pursuing something of the fear of that ever happening, and if that's like your worst case scenario and you just kept going
because it happens actually so readily. I don't know. I guess I went to see Kiss, and I remember I think they asked the audience, you know, they were saying, you know, what do you want us to play, and so I was yelling out Strutter, the song Strutter, and they were like, okay, let's play Strutter. So I was really like, oh my God, they heard me. But they took the piss out of my accent.
Your Australian accent.
Yeah, totally, yeah. And, but they started to play it and they stuffed up. They couldn't remember it. And that's when I went, it's okay to stuff up because if Kiss stuff up, it made them human.
Yeah, the same thing. I've seen Rufus Wainwright at the Tivoli, you know, start this epic piano, you know, interlude before his song, and he stopped and went, oh, I started that way too fast. Got to do it again. And it's way more engaging for the audience member.
It's it's how you connect to the audience as well, and it just
Oh, so you know that's why you're able to forgive yourself, and I'm sure they wouldn't.
They still talk to me.
Yeah, well, that's good.
That's all right. We're still friends. But and then it was Some Jerks.
Some Jerks. So just for the audience, so Some Jerks is a phenomenal. Would you? Oh, I mean, you guys are kind of punk, like
I think there's elements of punk and pop and
the 60s
and 60s,
garagey,
the 60s harmonies, that sort of Beach Boys kind of harmonies, with
How many albums have you guys made now?
We got 3. So we had an EP and then we've got 3 albums.
Yeah. Is there there's a new one on the horizon anytime soon, do you think?
No.
Have you been talking about it? Okay.
No, we'll have to do some more writing once Simon's.
Yeah, so Simon, Vic's partner is an amazing drummer, and he's just hurt his arm, and so
been in rehab all year for it.
Yeah, wow. So, you've just mentioned, we just had lunch before. You just mentioned that it's been actually an interesting time because it's actually given you space to go, right, well, what do I want to do? In terms of music, Yeah,
well, that started sort of around the COVID time. And then, I was saying to Simon, because I had like a lot of, solo ideas and some of them, I was writing a fair bit and some were kind of could have been Some Jerk songs and then there were some that just weren't. And I was like, I've got to do something with them. And I've had one song, which I've had for ages, which I joked about releasing on my 50th, which is actually in January. And so I was joking about that about 3 years ago, and now I'm thinking it's going to be more of a reality. I'm going to be like 50 in January. So I have to. That's I said this 3 years ago. This song has to be out by the time I'm 50.
Good.
So I kind of, I did joke about it, but I've got to do it. So I had all these songs and I was like, I need to maybe pick up another instrument and then so I'll just play ukulele and muck around with that. And it did make me sort of think about what I wanted to do and how I sort of looked at writing and looked at music and everything kind of sort of my whole sort of I started thinking about, passion and purpose and how, what writing music meant to me and playing music meant to me. And, and I had that, obviously, as a creative and you've just got that desire. You've just got that innate desire and need and that, to feed, yourself with music and, writing and stuff. And anyway, I started thinking about, because, when you're younger and you sort of start, being in bands and stuff and you kind of think, you've got stars in your eyes and it's kind of like world domination.
Yeah.
I started to just go, if I can just make one person happy or a handful of people happy with my music, that's all I can really ask for. And myself as well. So I started, everything sort of, there was just this thing, it's just started to shift inside me.
Because it became about your audience. Who are you serving? What is the purpose of this? And would you say it really is about disseminating joy through your music? Yeah. Oh, that's beautiful.
Yeah, and that's just... And I kind of started looking at other areas of my life as well. And even with like baking and food, it's all about giving. It's all about that, like feeding and nourishing people with, either food or music or,
I got a lot out of... Yeah, absolutely. And food and music. Oh my God, they're my two.
Oh yeah.
You can bake.
It just makes me so happy.
Well, you can bake. I can't. I am.
You can. I have some epic fails.
No.
I have some total epic fails. You don't see the bottom of those cakes. No. Sometimes they're totally burnt and I just pretend they're not.
Oh, it's a bit like a Zoom call, that you take, when you're like, you look all posh up top and you got your... your jocks on. So I just wanted to tell you that I was inspired by your Scottish tablet, that you made.
Scottish tablet.
Yeah. Can you tell everyone what a Scottish tablet is? It's not medication. Oh, it could be.
Well, it kind of is because it's a sweet treat.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like a fudge, but it's not a fudge. It's made out of, it's just plain sugar, really. It's like sugar and condensed milk. It's like 900 grams of sugar.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's like, it's
So you're just literally eating.
hard stuff. It's sugar.
Does it make your eyes water?
It burns because it's so sweet. It kind of feels like it just burns because it's got vanilla and it's condensed milk and I think a little bit of milk. I'm trying to think of it off the top of my head, and butter. But it sort of melts in your mouth. Like it's not soft like a fudge, or it's not as hard as a fudge, but it does have a sort of hard sort of, it kind of just melts in your mouth.
Yeah. It still sounds amazing to me.
It's yummy.
I better not watch any of those clips. During my 12-week reset where I'm not doing any sugar or alcohol.
I only make it once a year.
Yeah.
Because you just couldn't.
Yeah. You'd give yourself some kind of heart disease, cardiac arrest. Yeah. Can we also mention that you are Scottish?
Yes.
Yeah. So this is Do you have other Scottish treats that you do or dishes that you make?
Haggis. But I make a beginner's haggis.
Yeah.
So it's not as brutal.
Yeah.
It's not as awfully. So I really just I kind of just make it like a meatloaf.
Yeah,
so
right.
it doesn't freak too many people out.
Yeah.
So I make haggis and it's really just, I think I'll get, I don't use the sheep's bung or the sheep's lining to,
to do all the things.
I don't think you can actually over here anymore do that.
Is it?
I think it's illegal. I don't think they can sell it.
Oh, right.
Anymore.
Yeah. When did you come over?
1979, so I was 5.5. So I was very,
Where were
very
you
visual.
born, if you don't mind me asking?
Paisley.
Whereabouts is that?
So that's near Glasgow.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
And sort of industrial town.
Yeah, right.
Textiles
And your dad is a musician?
Dad was in a jazz band back in Scotland. And they used to play all the tennis dances and things like that.
Oh.
Mum would go with Dad and,
That's beautiful.
Yeah. So they'd do that and, I don't know why. I can't remember why he gave it. I think he just ended up, just working and had kids and that kind of thing. But he always liked to just muck around on it and,
Did he play the upright?
Yeah, he did. Yeah, and then he went to electric.
Yeah.
And then... and I think he may even have played banjo at some time too. I'm sure he said he played banjo as well. So, yeah.
Oh, there you go. So that and do you like your sister's musical as well?
She doesn't play anything, and I don't think she thinks that she can sing, but she's got very low voice, but it's very bluesy and it is, the tone is sweet as, but she would never say that she was. But she's super musical. I mean, she was in fashion as well, didn't she? Have a shop in the Valley? Yes, she had a vintage shop in the Valley back in, I don't know, 86, 87 or something. I think it was like, I was either in grade 8 or grade 7 or something. And that was called the Speedy Dark, and she collected vintage, and it was really cool, cool stuff. Yeah, and she's still got a massive collection, which is pretty phenomenal.
You have a massive collection.
I do, but it's not as good as hers. Her stuff's insane.
Oh, what is the tagline of your new Instagram account for the vintage clothes? It's
Trixie Quick Draw's Closet, and Trixie Quick Draw was my stage name in the Genies.
Oh, I didn't know that.
And people called me Trixie in the Umbrellas as
well. Is that why? Because I called you
you
Trixie, and I had no idea why I was calling you Trixie.
Yeah, that's why.
Right.
Yeah.
And then I learned that your name.
I was kind of like, it was kind of weird. I kind of had this thing where it was sort of like, I was like, I'm tired of kind of being. I felt like I was having this like a split personality or something. Like I was sort of like, I need to just have one name. I can't, and,
And that's when you went back to Victoria.
Yeah.
Yeah. I've gone through that, having lots of different, incarnations of my name, or wanting to start solo projects and calling it, Dolly Frost or that was one of them. But I was just like, I wanted to call myself Little Mavis after my mum, and my mum was like, no, I don't want you to. And I said, okay, well, I'm Little Mel. I'm calling it after my inner child. Yeah, Little.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah.
I was Trixie Quickdraw. I like. And I always have. Like,
Yeah.
you know, but I can't remember who it was. I don't know if it was my mum and dad or my sister. Anyway, one of them said it sounded too much like a porn star's name. And I was like, what?
No.
And ever since then, I've just...
I would have said drag queen, but...
well, yeah, I would have much preferred that.
Yeah.
Because, yeah, and I was like, where I did not think... That was not what I was thinking when I, you know, came up with the name. I think I was like... Because they were all in the band.
In saying that, porn stars, you know, sex workers on OnlyFans are making something like $100,000 a month. So, you know, like they...
Oh, really?
Oh, my God.
OnlyFans?
Oh, some people, have got some, like, huge followings. I watched a Four Corners episode about it. And so I'm like, go you. It's amazing. Yeah. So...
That's amazing.
Yeah. If anyone decides they want to change their career, it's,
a childcare educator.
Better than a high school teacher. No offense to any high school teachers. I love...
Or educators.
Love educators. Just not loving the system.
Yeah, that's right.
that we work within.
Yeah, but I just thought I've got to still use the name.
Yeah, I love it. So so you've got quite a few things happening. So Some Jerks, by the way, is a seminal Brisbane band. I tried to book a ticket last minute. The last show that you guys did, and you were booked out, like you were sold out. That was
Was that our album launch?
I think it was your album launch. Yeah. You had like you've succeeded when you've sold out and you've got like spammers on your Facebook event page trying to sell tickets.
I know. I didn't even know that kind of existed. And then and I'm like, who are these people?
Yeah, exactly.
Like
yeah.
I'm like, where do they come
and
from?
they look real half the time as well. But they're
like
they're spammers.
Friend requests I'm getting from weird men on Facebook.
I get a lot of requests from widowed doctors.
They're bots, aren't they?
Yeah,
just
they're bots.
AI, photographs. And
stuff,
because
absolutely.
Some of them are and it's like, this is just too creepy. Go away. I don't like it.
There was actually the sports reader on Sunrise, Barrett's, they call him. I don't watch Sunrise. Yeah. My mum does. So anytime I'm in Bundaberg, that's the only time I see Sunrise. But Barrett's. Someone got all his photos and created a profile. He was also a widowed doctor from Alabama. I'm like, oh, come on, mates. Mate, maybe don't get the photos of a celebrity.
That is so funny.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah. But no, so Some Jerks is huge. And amazing band. I'm really excited though that you're doing more Vic Watson, songs. And I'm just really excited to watch this space and see what happens with You Can Bake.
Thank you. Yeah. I think I always knew, because I gave up work at the end of last year, and I always knew that this year was just really going to be more of a transitional kind of, let's just see how things go. Let's get things started. Let's just kind of plant more seeds and just see how it goes. So I am kind of doing a few things, but feeling like I'm not getting anywhere, but it's sort of
happening.
It is happening.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of like hoping that, next year when I've,
I think
all start to, so it will just keep going.
Look, I actually just listened to a podcast about this the other day. I think we're all undoing internalized capitalism, sorry, I'm just going to go straight there. So we're all undoing that, and which is very much about linear progress and this idea of, like, this is how it's meant to look, and if you're not there, you're not successful, that kind of thing. Whereas, like, I even know in my own business, so as you know, I've just come back to full-time Fearless Singer just in the last 18 months. It actually, momentum takes a bit of time. Like, I mean, you start slowly, and like you've acknowledged, you knew that this year is going to be the planting the seeds, feeling feeling out things and seeing what sticks, and and then it will grow. It will. That's what I'm sort of seeing now. It's like taken probably 12 months, but now I'm sort of starting to see things are really happening now and branching out. And
I guess it was also like I had expectations, when I first left work, and I guess it was just I was just really excited about the journey ahead, and I was excited that I'd finally got the courage to leave, you know, the childcare industry, even though I'm sort of doing, you know, a bit of agency work and stuff. It was such a relief. And then I felt like, well, this is great because now I've got that space where I can just, you know, work on all these different ideas and stuff. And so I kind of had expectation. In some ways, I knew it was going to be a sort of transitional year, but I still had these expectations. And at one point, I think, you know, a few months back or a couple of months back, I actually ended up just feeling so low because things just hadn't sort of progressed as much as I'd hoped they had, or I kind of just sort of felt a bit, maybe a bit disillusioned, or maybe just a bit lost again. And then, you know, I think it was sorry, you're
moving away from the mic. I'm like, how do I do this subtly?
Yeah, so
Get right in there, mate.
What was I talking about? Now I've lost my train
I
of
know.
thought.
I'm so sorry. You were
like
feeling a bit lost because the expectations that
So I was feeling a little bit lost, but then it was like, I think it was like Simon and my sister and a friend of mine were just like, well, you know, it is going to take time. This is a really big thing. It's not just it's going to take time, you know. And my friend was just like, you know, you just got to be gentle with yourself. And I was like, yeah, I do. I need to be gentle with myself and just not, you know, get rid of all those expectations and just, you know, when the ideas come, they'll come. Let's not force things at the moment.
No.
Or that could be just me procrastinating. I don't know.
No. I don't believe in procrastination. I believe in resistance, which I guess is a form of procrastination. And it's usually when we dig a bit deeper, we're resisting because of a fear of something. So, for instance, on Sunday, so I've been the same thing, couching for a little bit, even though in between, obviously, teaching and coaching and all the rest of it, all the things that I know that I'm booked in to do. In my mind, I know that I have some really big projects coming up, but also I want to create courses, you know, and I've got stuff to make a course right now, but I've been allowing myself to do the, you know, Netflix and, you know, with the blanket and all the rest of it.
You do have to allow yourself to do that.
Yes, though. You do have to, but I realised because it was kind of happening, you know, quite regularly. I was like, oh, what are you avoiding?
Okay. Yeah. You're
and
getting
then,
too comfortable.
Yeah, so I had to have one of those kind of adult talks to myself. Of, oh, what's happening? Why, what's, you know, what are you scared of? And then my body literally went into a conniption. It was like it'd been sprung. Yeah. It was like, and then I was able to work through the resistance. Yeah. So sometimes, you are just listening to your body, and sometimes you do literally need to chill out and you need to go easy. And then other times I think it's all awareness, isn't it? Just going, okay, I'm not, I love you. You've been doing this a lot. There's something you're avoiding. What is it? You know?
I think like I do believe that fear is a big contributor to my sort of lack of motivation sometimes. And it's that fear of the change and the unknown. And you know, from doing so, even though it's music, you know, it's still like you were doing your day job, you know, and you've been doing that for so long, and then you finally just go, I have to do it. I have to break free and change and grow. And then all of a sudden it's just like, your body just kind of goes, I don't know if I can do this.
Yeah, because it's unfamiliar territory, isn't it? Because you're used to like being up at a certain time, you know, getting yourself to somewhere at a certain time. You knew what you had to do. But then suddenly you've got all this space. I think, and you're like, what do I do?
And it's suddenly, I think, this feeling of it's not being fearful of failing. It's almost like it's being fearful of success. It's that fear of, holy crap, I'm going to be really happy. Or this is something that could actually make me really happy. And therefore, I kind of feel out of my, not that I'm not a happy person,
No,
but
no.
it's like, wow, this could.
Well, it's Marianne Williamson that says, it's that famous quote where she says we're afraid of our own light.
Yeah.
Yeah, shining bright. And the fear could be, I've had that fear before, and I think I've released it now, but there could be variants of it still in my system. But it's that fear of, what if I get there, I get everything that I want, and it still doesn't make me happy? It's like, and then it's like, then I've lost my dream, you know, like, I think it's a little bit of that.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. But my whole thing now is the way I've coached myself around that is like, mate, there'll always be the next level. Like, there'll always be something additional, or you're a creative. Like, there's more where this comes from, you know, like we this is what we do as creatives. We birth ideas. Yeah. We're channelers. Yeah. Yes.
I think, I mean, I like to be creative in so many different ways. And I haven't allowed myself to really do that for a while. It's always been music. And lately I've just, I don't know, I think I was scared that, like, if I go and be creative in something else, I'm going to leave that behind, and that's all I've ever known. And for me, it was sort of this, well, that can't happen, because I've wanted, you know, music. I was born with, you know, the music inside me. Like, it's been there since I can remember, you know, since my first, I don't know, Wings single or something when I was 3, you know. It was just, but lately it's just been this thing where it's just like, I don't know, it's this organic thing where I've just been doing all sorts of creative things, and realizing that I can just be creative in other ways, and music will always be there, but I've got to be able to let these other,
well, that's it. You're
out, and
you're multi-passionate. You love fashion. You love, you know, you've got a very beautiful aesthetic. You love the earth. You know, you live on a property. Yeah. Oh, by the way, Vic and Simon also have a studio that's going to be coming about next year. Like, it's all. It's there, but it's there.
Yeah. We got Simon's he's been recording sort of friends and their bands and stuff. It's really cool, actually. It's been nice having other people out there, and like, he's the mastermind behind the whole, you know, recording and producing and stuff, and but, you know, people, you know, they'll stay, and I'll just make up a big feast for them, or give them platters just to keep their little, you know, sustenance, you know, going. Although some people I don't eat that much when I'm recording. I do have to have breaks though, because I get hangry, which is kind of funny, because like during band practice, when Will was in the band, would go, Simon, we've got to stop. We've got to go feed Vic. So that's why I was like, you know, people need food. People need to be nourished, you know, while they're, you know, recording or whatever. And then I can't remember which band was there, but they didn't really eat, and I'd made this platter. I was like, well, it's just there for you. But anyway, it's just, it's
That's
been
really
nice. It's been nice. And they'll be like, Vic, do you want to come and do backups? I'm like, it's not my project, but I'm happy to do this and have fun, and I don't really have to think much. And it's nice. It's nice to have other creative people there and stuff. So,
would you ever just come and do a solo show in Brisbane if I arranged it? Just you and the guitar?
Oh, me and me uke. When I've got a set together.
Yeah. Oh, please.
When I've got a set together. Yeah. I've just been really slack with my set together.
But we were just talking before about deadlines. So if you had like a deadline,
give me a deadline.
Like, it doesn't have to be this year. It could be next year.
Oh, yeah, next year for sure.
Early next year?
Yeah, sure.
February?
Yeah, all right.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
I should, because I've been talking, like, it's so funny. I say this to everybody who I'm massive fans of. You, this lovely lady called Alex Van der Broek. So I've got like a list of all of you. Oh, she's amazing. She does, she's an incredible singer, musician. She does these insane choral arrangements.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Nice. So she works for Little Red Company and does all their arrangements for them. And she also is famous on TikTok. So she does all the parts and things like that. Yeah. But she's got an F-off amazing, like, she's an amazing soloist. Yeah. So I'm like, all right, I've got this like list of people. So I've got to start putting together these shows.
Like your own show.
Yeah, well, this is the thing. So Vic and I were talking before about this idea of that I kind of want to be Parkinson.
She'd be so good.
Good. Not so great with technology. I'm just double checking that this is still working. Yeah, it is. Great. No, I'll minimize it again. So maybe that could be it. I could like interview you on stage and then you sing a song, like you do a set.
Oh my God, that would be so good.
Yeah.
That would be really cool.
Yeah.
Just a few songs or something and then like you do whole interviews.
Yeah.
Of people
because
and
people are fascinating.
Life stories and
that's it.
That's a cool idea.
I think people genuinely like if you tell me I find people so interesting. Yeah, it's ever since I was a little girl. Yeah. I was just saying to Vic before that when I did my journalism degree, I've got my my degree on the wall. It was pretty impressive that I got through. I was such a lazy little shite. But the one thing I was really good at.
You've been that lazy. You passed, right?
Please get degrees. I did better at my arts admin subjects because I did the creative industries, you know, through QT. Yeah. But yeah, the one thing I got high distinctions for were the interviews with people. And back then you'd have to ring them up and there was this weird little contraption where you could record it on like to a cassette tape. Yeah.
But you are very like talking to Mel, it's very comfortable.
Oh, that's good.
It's not intimidating at all.
That's good. Even though I'm nearly sitting on you right now. Oh, it's pretty cramped in this little space.
What did we have for lunch?
Oh, we had keto bowl.
Really garlicky. Mine is really garlicky.
Oh, can you smell my garlic?
No.
Oh, no. No, I can't.
And I felt like I've had like little bits in my teeth.
No, you don't. Well, I'm worried because I am so full that I'm sitting here
and full as they were delicious.
Worrying that I'm going to like burp.
I did just burp. That's why I was like, oh my God, like I'm shitting. Like,
and I didn't. No, I mean I don't think they'll be able to hear it either. See, if you need to let go, just give me a heads up. I'll just press pause. Anyway, back to you and your singing.
Your face is like if I farted, it'd just be like.
I'm pretty like okay with bodily functions. Like that's part of being a singing teacher. Like it's weird, like because, well, like you know, everything is moving. Yeah. Like your diaphragm is moving. Like you know, everything's moving. Of course, if you're full or you've got some kind of yeah, I can't. It's so hard.
So much.
It's so hard. I've and there's been times where I've nearly like suffocated on my own saliva when I've been singing. Like it's all sorts of weird.
I've choked.
Yeah.
On my own saliva on stage while I've been singing.
That's it.
But I just like, and I'm like,
yeah.
It's like you have a larynx spasm.
Yeah.
And you can't breathe. It's like,
yeah.
On stage.
Yeah.
You're kind of trying to sort of hide it.
I know.
Not to pass out.
I'm at that point now with the audiences, even at the Brisbane Jazz Club. I'm just like, I just tell everyone what's happening, just you know, so we're all on the same page. Yeah. It makes me feel way more comfortable.
I had to stop mid song once because my contact went behind my eye. I'm really sorry. I just have to try and get my contact out from behind my eye.
Behind your eye.
It's sort of like just kind of like up there. And I kind of had to do this thing where I had to pull my eyelid out and try and get my finger up there, and I'm like. It's going to take a while.
But yeah, it's so good that you can get to a point where you can just be that open on a stage. Yeah, it's like, you know, I don't know about you. Do you see the audience as like your mates or your family? Like that's how I sort of look at and I go, this audience is no different to a family gathering for me, you know?
Well, I always used to find it really hard playing in front of my family, so no. So you're the opposite. Yeah. I have to think of them as nobody I know.
Yeah. Okay. Interesting.
So even close, like okay with people in the scene. I kind of hate using that word, but
because your community,
like, you know, my peers. Yeah. That's okay. But even my close friends from school. My older friends. I kind of still feel even a bit weird playing in front of them. I don't know why. And even mum and dad, I always found it really hard performing in front of them. And not because I thought they were going to be overly critical or anything. I think it was because I was worried, mum would just be like, oh, my girl, or get really emotional or something.
Yeah,
and that's
right.
Why it's kind of
okay.
I don't know if I want to see that or...
Yeah.
I don't know.
That's interesting.
Mum and dad were always really supportive.
Yeah, whereas I'd live for that. I deliberately try to make my grandma cry when I sing to her. Because I just, I know.
Does she?
Yeah.
Oh.
She knows, and she does it on cue. I'm like, yep, good. I've taught you well.
But I know that if I did that, I'd be a blubbering mess.
Oh, okay.
I think,
Yeah.
I just wouldn't be able to deal with that. My friends, I don't know why. Yeah.
No,
it's weird.
Maybe explore that.
My sister's fine.
Yeah.
But I suppose because she's come to so many gigs, it's a bit different, and she's into the same music maybe, I don't know. But
yeah, we're different.
But yeah,
we're all so different.
To think of I still do the old, I don't know if you remember from school or if you were taught to focus on a spot.
Yeah. I like to eyeball people because I love the idea that I could be making them feel uncomfortable.
Well, if I'm having a good gig, I'll do that.
Yeah.
If I'm not, I just focus on the back.
Yeah, it's good to have some kind of default that you can go back to feel safe.
Because I don't know about you, but my nerves have got worse as I've got older.
I wish I was a little bit more nervous.
Do you?
Yeah, just only because sometimes I get really hyperactive, I think, from the energy, that you're receiving and the energy you're receiving on stage and just the whole thing. And sometimes the shit that comes out of my mouth, I'm just like, oh my God. I mean, sometimes it's funny, like it translates into comedy.
And that's good.
Yeah. But other times I'm just like, oh my God, I have an out of body experience going, just can you rate it in, mate? And I'm like, no.
I don't know. I don't know. I just, as I've got older, I don't know what it is. My nerves have just, stage fright has just gone up.
Okay.
Level. Yeah. It was funny because when Will was in the band too, because we kind of had a bit of a comedy show going where, me and Will would take the piss out of Simon.
Yeah.
Poor Simon. And Simon got to the point where he was just like, I just want you to stop it. And it's like, but it's funny and it's fun and everyone likes it and you can join in too. And he's like, right, okay, well, I'm going to get a mic. And I'm like, yeah, go for it because this is going to be great because he can be as witty as his wit is sharp.
Yeah.
And I'm like, this is going to be great. And because I kind of looked at us as like the young ones. So like Sime is Mike to a T.
Yeah.
And Will was always Vivian. And I was sort of like a cross between, I reckon, Rick and Neil. And then Brent was like, I would say Rick and Neil.
Yeah.
And and so we one gig we gave Simon a mic. And we were like, Will and I were just like, yep, let's go for it.
Yeah.
And then Simon just said nothing. And, I don't know. The last, I remember the album launch and I remember just being so nervous to the point where I was just like, I just really honestly didn't think I was going to be able to.
Was that before COVID hit?
No, that was during COVID. So I don't know.
So that could be, do you think it's not so much that as you're getting older, it could be the circumstances,
That did make us.
And you also had the flood as well.
Oh, that was after.
Yeah. So, like, I mean, but just in terms of...
Oh, there was a lot going on.
There's a lot going on, you know, in this time that you've been performing lately.
And then,
so rather than it's that you're getting older, it's more of what's actually just happened to you. Yeah.
Because then, you know, because Will left, he had to, you know, and there were lots of changes and stuff. And so I guess, maybe it was just my general anxiety.
Yeah, well, listen, everyone's anxiety was
also,
through the roof.
Yeah, and also just thinking and about, you know, what I actually wanted as well. And so maybe it was just all an accumulation of just, you know, stuff. Yeah. Because it was like, and the flood really did, that was pretty full. Yeah, that was pretty full on. Yeah.
Did you want to talk about that? You can say no.
Oh, well, we just got flooded.
Yeah.
Oh, the studio got flooded.
Yeah.
It was just a lot of cleaning up and just annoyance. Like, we were lucky.
Yeah.
And we managed to, because we got flooded prior to the flood.
Yeah.
So 3 weeks before
I remember that
flood.
Yeah.
We got flooded a little bit.
Yeah.
And so when the big rains came, it was like, I remember it being 4:00 in the morning, and Simon and I just like jumped out of bed and went studio. We went to the studio and we're just like, oh my God. And the water had just come in. And so we were like, for about 6 hours, bucketing out water, and we thought we'd got on top of it. And then the next big rain came and it just went.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
It was but we got everything out, which was, we left the
But could you imagine your nervous systems, like, for a while? Like, it would have been permanently...
Do you know what I was doing? During the big storm, I was on this is stupid, don't do this, people, but I was on a ladder during the storm getting, cleaning out the gutters of our studio, which Simon was just like, what the are you doing? And I was like, I don't know. Well, that's what. So it was pretty full on.
I was going to say that's what happens to people. You know, that's what we do. You know, so it'll be interesting to see. You know, because you've had a lot of time. You know, or a bit of time to heal. You know, and you've also had time and space to work on things that, you know, is bringing you joy.
Yeah.
And you've been doing mentoring as well. So Vic is an amazing singer-songwriter.
Thanks.
Yeah, mentor. So if you are struggling with writing a song, Vic will help you with that. She's amazing. I know because we worked very, very, it was like for half a second in a band called The Warm Guns.
You guys were awesome.
Yeah.
And that
so
the
Vic
song
was
in the video clip that I think was it Murray.
Yeah.
That was so freaking catchy.
Yeah.
Was cool. Yeah, that was.
So I remember you even way back then, and this was like, you were drumming and singing like way back then. I remember you being just such a phenomenal, like, ideas. You know, and how really encouraging you were. Like, so I didn't really know, like, I'd done music as a kid, but I didn't really know much. And I remember at that time, you know, just as a young one, not feeling like I really sort of fit in. You know, you feel like a bit of a misfit in the music scene. It's funny because we're all misfits. Yeah. But you were just so encouraging. And I remember just feeling like seen and heard. I remember you going, oh, you know, that's a great idea. And you sing that so beautifully. Like, that was probably
you do have a beautiful
that was the
voice.
first time I'd actually received any
on the keys.
Positive feedback, you know, from a peer. And it was just like, you know, it meant the world to me. And I just remember you going, oh, and if you thought about doing this and this and this. So, you know, you've got a natural ability to collaborate and to mentor.
I do like working with people. And I was told to stop this at work because I would notice people's talents at work and it would be outside of, you know, the childcare industry, and I'd be like, you need to go and pursue this. So people were leaving. Yeah. Because I was like going, you need to do this. Have you thought about this? I reckon you'd be really good at this. Yeah. How about you do this?
So natural coach.
Let's just do this. And, and then it'd be like, Vic, I've got into this, you know, course at uni, and I'm like, yes. I've just put in my resignation. I'm like, yes. Yeah.
Yeah. And then that
Never.
was you last year.
Yes, it
That
was.
was you. You were like,
Yeah, I've
enough. Had enough. Yeah. Ready to
Yeah.
just focus on what brings joy and what you are clear. And this is what I tell people too. It's like when you have got a very clear talent, you know, this probably sounds a bit evangelical, but I'm a big believer in like you're put on this earth to give that gift. That is a gift within you that you're here to share.
Yeah,
so
I've always felt that. It's like, I've always felt that. Yeah, I was put on this earth to, I don't know, provide some sort of, you know, joy.
Yeah.
In some shape, you know, form.
And also too, we're both of the same belief system of like music elevates. It elevates and raises the vibration in the room.
It does. I used to because when you know I was really little, and we moved out here. I don't think people realise, and I don't think my parents would have thought about this when they, you know, when we moved out here. But it was such a huge change, especially like, I mean, I was 5.5, but for say someone my sister's age, so she was 12.
Oh wow, that's
so
huge!
That's like prepubescent.
Going from Scotland to Australia in the Gatton in the 70s.
Gatton, rural agricultural town.
Right.
It was big. It was huge and really overwhelming. And I still remember the smells of the airport and the smell of just. It was June, but for our family, it was bloody hot. Like it was super hot. I remember the smell of like the cauliflower, the vegetables, you know, in the farms, and the earth, the smell of the earth, and everything was just really overwhelming. And I think, and because I got kind of teased for my accent, they weren't being mean, but the kids weren't mean, but it was just a lot because it was like I was this novelty and I was just like crowded, you know, in the sandpit.
It's safe. We know that it's
speak.
like it's that whole tribal thing. It's safer to fit in.
Yeah.
You're not going to get cast out.
I lost my accent. I was saying before that I got rid of my accent
within 6 months,
very quickly to fit in. I still had a little bit because I remember I was actually reading aloud in class in grade 2 and I didn't say a word in Australian. And so I was made to stand up on my chair because the teacher said, because I argued that I was saying it correctly, this word, and she was like, you need to not argue with me. You're wrong, you're wrong, you're wrong. And I was just like, I couldn't say it like how she was saying it. But she obviously, anyway. Just an anxious time. And then, so we lived at the college for a little bit, but then Dad, like Mum and Dad bought property. And when I found that I had that space, music was it was blaring, and I found my voice, and I sang every afternoon till about grade 12. And it wasn't until, I feel emotional, but it wasn't until maybe a couple of years ago that I go, wow, that's why I was such a happy kid, because I just did that every single day, and I didn't realize what it was doing to my brain and my body. It was just, it helped so much with the anxiety.
Oh,
it
really
really
so
did.
beautiful.
It really did.
And
I realize that now. It did.
It's so lovely that you're able to give that gift through your music. And at the moment, it's through you can bake. But also through your mentoring as well, the work that you do with people. Yeah, it's really powerful because you were mentioning that you really help people unlock things in their body through, singing to the different tonal centers. Which is really powerful.
And just letting people, know that they can be creative in a safe space, and just writing songs is a really healthy way to be creative. You don't have to be musical. It's not about having,
Yeah, that's such a big fallacy that you need to know.
Or you need to have the most perfect voice. Or you need to have...
No. Yeah.
And it's just about... having fun, being creative.
Mm.
And that's why I wanted to do it with the kindergarten kids as well, because they love music. And what I've noticed is that they just get the iPad. And that's it. The iPad's chucked on. And
but if they had access to little, different things, musical equipment, they could be creating something. Yeah.
Just teaching them the basic foundations of songwriting and letting them know that, writing a song, when they can, because they write songs every day anyway. They just, they don't realise they're doing it, but when they're, playing in home corner, they're singing to their dolls about giving them a cup of tea.
Yeah.
And it's just, teaching them that that's a healthy way to express themselves, from that age, and then eventually it'll all click.
Yeah.
But it's planting that little seed.
That's it. What advice would you give somebody who's listening to this who has a deep yearning? They know that they want to sing or they want to create music. They have something that they want to share, but they just, I don't know, feel a little bit stuck. They just don't know how to start. Like, what advice would you give someone that's just like, oh, maybe I'm past it. Maybe my time has gone,
No, just do it. That's all I can. Just do it. And you have to be perfect, because it's not always going to be perfect. I write shit songs. Sometimes my songs are really shit. And and I've got lots of failed,
like your cakes that have got the burnt bottom.
Just pretend that they're great. So yummy.
I pretended for a long time that I was good at keyboard. No, I wasn't.
But anyway, it's just, you just have to do it. You just do it, and don't be gentle with yourself. Be kind to yourself. Self-compassion is key to everything.
That's it.
I reckon.
And what's like on your playlist at the moment?
My playlist at the moment is, because I'm turning 50 in January, I've made this Spotify playlist which has the most, it has a lot of songs.
Yeah.
A lot of songs. And
What kind of stuff?
I put it to private because it's embarrassing how many, that the playlist is so long. But I was like, it's my 50th.
By the way,
I'm going to party hard
on
that day.
Afternoon of my 40th, I only just realised, oh shit, playlist. And it was so hard to come up with songs. Well, so can I just say to you, kudos for getting ahead.
I've got about 500 songs.
Oh my God, that's amazing.
I started with, I think, when I was really little. So I've kind of started from my first single that my dad ever bought me was My Love Kintyre.
Oh, I love that. My Love Kintyre.
I got that. And then I think it's goes, I think there's obviously ABBA, because I'm just such a huge ABBA fan. And so I've just been kind of listening to it to see how so that's what I've been listening to at the moment.
Good on you. So it's biographical.
There's Motorhead and the Nolan sisters. There's a lot of, opposites.
Yeah.
But,
that's cool. Can I come to your 50th?
Fucking oath. Oh.
Is it going to be Yeah. Oh, I swear all the time.
Sorry.
Yeah. I just always mention that I swear it.
Yeah.
On my newsletter, because my mum reads my newsletter. I go, sorry, mum.
My mum's so used to me.
Yeah.
It's funny because I was talking to Simon the other week, and we were talking about, I don't know why I brought this up, but I was talking about, the things that you find, it's a bit morbid. I just had a bit of dust that just flew up my nose.
It wasn't dust. It was actually a fly. I watched it. I think it might be in your body. That's all right. It's just a little bit of extra protein.
Anyway, it feels really... No, it's still moving.
Oh, no. All right, we're back. We had an incident with a fly.
I swallowed it.
And then we ended really ominously when I was like, there's a song about that, Vic, about
There was an old woman who swallowed a fly. I don't know why she swallowed a fly. Perhaps she'll die.
Yeah.
Or something like that.
And then that's when I hit the desk and then the recording stopped. So we've now just gone and saged ourselves and we've but we're back. But we actually realised it was probably patriarchy's way of don't ask for too much, because then she went to go and swallow a cow and
I think she did.
yeah, and
Someone might have to. I don't know. I've told this story so often, or I've read this story so often to kids. You'd think I'd remember.
Yeah.
But
So
I
she
can't.
keeps consuming these big things, wanting these big things. So we decided it's not about death. It's about patriarchy's way of saying, for a woman, don't ask for too much. So that's our take on that.
You'll die.
Or else you'll die. Yeah. Anyway, on that note, what were you saying before you swallowed a fly?
What?
You were saying something about swearing. You were saying to Simon.
Oh God. What was that? Oh yeah, I was talking about. So we've got this bar in our rumpus streams, fish tank, but it's a bar. So we like to sometimes just sit and have drinks. And for some reason, I was just, I don't know, in a funny, morbid kind of mood. And I was like, Simon, how, because Simon does, how when you're with someone, they have these things that they do which can, be annoying, but really they're endearing. They're the things that kind of, you really do love about them. And so, Simon has, no, I won't say, because he might just be like, that's sharing too much. But there's things about your partner that, are annoying, but they're endearing.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And so I was sort of telling him the things that, I'd miss if he died, even though they annoy me, it'd be like, because he does have this one thing where when he's in the kitchen, when he's cooking, he will pull out every single drawer and cupboard. It's like, Poltergeist. It's like, so I nicknamed him Carol Ann, the little girl from Poltergeist, because it's like Poltergeist in the kitchen. Right?
Yeah.
Everything's just hanging out, and the doors and the drawers are all uneven and out and stuff. And then I said to him, so, what are the things that annoy you about me? And he kind of he went really quiet, and I'm thinking, oh shit, this is going to be bad. This isn't, because it's still like, you swear a lot. Potty mouth. And I went, what? My potty mouth? And he's like, but I do it too. And, I find it, it's something that I do about, about myself that I find really annoying. And, but your potty mouth. But I was like, that's my personality. I've been swearing since I was about 6. I'm not going to change that kind of thing. And I took it really personally. But yeah, I have such a potty mouth.
Oh, I do too. And I'm trying really hard not to, because you know what?
Too.
I'd hate for it to come out in an inappropriate time.
Well, that's what he says.
Yeah.
Mine is just inappropriate times.
Yeah, right.
And I haven't
Because
noticed.
I trained myself not to swear, obviously, in the classroom. And I was really careful. I also had an incident. I was swearing a lot on stage. This was years and years ago. And I saw my brother, and it was at a really intimate little jazz club at JMI Live. And my brother was at the front, and he was going, stop. No. And I said something really crass, and which isn't really that funny. The crass humor can be, but this one wasn't that funny. It was I was honestly doing my shtick at the RSL, And then I looked over, he was going like this. I looked over and there was a kid in the back. Yeah, and I was
I've done that.
And I tamed myself. Yeah. But I do let out the occasional F-bomb during interviews. But last week I was on the ABC and talking about my family history. And I'd had a few champagnes the night before because my friends got into Blues Fest. And the journalist rang me to have a talk about just a few different things, and I think I let off a few casual F-bombs, because I was talking about the Asia Minor history, with the Greeks being persecuted by it. So it was some pretty heavy stuff. And she said, oh, just she wasn't rude. She just said, oh, look, just you let off a few little swears. I just want to just make sure you're not going to... And that really embarrassed me. I was like, oh, no. I don't want to be seen as that person that will swear on the Australian Broadcasting Commission.
Yeah. I used to swear a lot, and we'd have like radio interviews, especially during the Amparellas. And I remember one time, and it was on Triple Z, and you could obviously swear, I think, at that point in time. I don't know. But anyway, we did the interview, and I can't remember who it was. We were out, and I can't remember who it was that was, they were in a band anyway, and they'd all been listening to the interview, and they all had this thing where it was like, let's count how many times Vic, says.
Yeah, right.
And I was like, what? Because I didn't really think about it. No one else in the band had said, hold back or anything. And I was like, what, I swear that much? And they're like...
Oh, wow.
And I was like, wow.
Well, see, I've never known you to be a swearer.
I'm huge. And
yeah,
then
wow.
we were in New Zealand, and I can't remember...
Not that it really matters that you're a swearer.
What it was that I was talking about must have been just saying some really crass stuff and some, and was
Did you grow up with Peter
and
Cook and Dudley Moore?
Oh, bloody oath. Yeah, we did. And
it's not your fault.
No, it's not. And there was this man who ended up ringing in and just let me have it. Just he was, and the guy that was interviewing us was just like not knowing what to do, and eventually he had to just hang up on this guy.
Right.
This guy was just tearing me a new one for just being disgusting.
Yeah.
And and a woman.
Yeah.
And I was just like, what's that? Being a woman, I can swear if I want, if I'm a woman, So
yeah.
Blah, blah, blah. Anyway, and even I remember Richard at the time was just kind of like... And I was like, oh. So I knew then.
Yeah.
And then I remember trying to make sort of like, an effort to not, but...
do you feel like it's different for men, though? Yeah. Well, same. I was brought up in Bundaberg. Do you think it's different for men? Yeah, so they can kind of get up on stage and So it's more of a... Because I remember, the biggest... back in the 90s, regional Queensland, if you're a woman and had a tattoo, you were so... they wouldn't say emo. What do they say? You're swampy.
Oh, swampy.
You're so swampy, and that, and she smokes as well. Like if you're a female that smoked, and definitely if you're a female that swore.
If you were,
it's
the same living in Gatton. But we kind of we did sort of, we called ourselves swampies. But if you were a woman that was into alternative music, and you had short hair and you wore Doc Martens, or you just dressed differently, or you were into the arts, you were just labelled a dyke. And that, and that was it. And it was awful. It was just harassment. You couldn't walk down the street without
someone saying something,
yelling out, you effing ugly dyke dog.
Oh God!
Yeah, that was Gatton, and that was. And if you had you were fair game. Yeah, right. But if you were a guy,
of course you get away with it,
unless you were a guy that was effeminate or.
Oh
then,
of course, then you'd have it.
You were gay. You couldn't have long hair. You were you were gay, and they would cop it. And
I know the harassment still exists,
it does.
and in the city and in regional.
I think it's got worse again.
You think it has?
Yeah, I think it has. Yeah.
I just don't go out that often. I'm here, but it's sad. You know what actually makes me really sad is to read the comments when the Courier Mail or one of those trashy, or what are they called, the English version of that, the Daily Mail, do those trashy stories, about alternative culture or whatever, and you read the comments and just you go, because you live in this left-wing bubble, and then you go, that's what people really actually think. It's so depressing. I've just decided not to read it. I've just refused to think that people are so unkind.
But social media, I have to. I actually said to Simon, I just want to just not go on. I need a break because I was just reading some just awful comments, just really unkind comments.
What advice would you give somebody that sort of fits in, like maybe they're younger and they're finding their voice, finding their style, and it is alternative, and maybe it is sort of bucking the conventions around them. So what advice would you give them? Because obviously you were that kid back in Gatton. So, like, what did you do to survive? How did you get through that time?
I think I just honestly, I looked at them like they were just wankers. Like, I was just like, you're a wanker. You're nothing to me. You
mean nothing to me. Yeah. So water off a duck's back.
Yeah, and that's how I got bullied a bit, and that was pretty traumatic at times. But I was lucky. I still had a bunch of friends. You know, but I think with social media and some of the stuff that's happening to the kids these days. It's pretty brutal and it's pretty terrifying. Yeah. Maybe it's hard. It's like, because you want to say just stay strong, but just stay strong and stay true to you. But that's hard.
But what you just said is you did do that. You stayed strong.
Flies a lot.
Oh no, you've stayed strong. But I think the key is that you still had a support structure around you.
I still did have that support.
Yeah.
Structure.
So I think it's like find that support. There's always going to be, and there's always going to be those beacons of light wherever you are. I know sometimes it feels like you're alone, but just look out. Like, I used to be when I was like a loner, and so I went to a different public school. So I went from a private school to grade 10 and then went to a public school and didn't know anyone, and I was like, whatever, I'll just wag and hang out with my grandma or go into town. And so I had a great life. I loved it. It was like freedom. But I used to just look out for like the lonely kids. Yeah. And I'd go and befriend them, and I don't know, like, it sounds really bizarre, but I'd sort of like rehome them. That sounds really but like they were all different age groups. So I remember this one girl, like, she just would walk around the school alone. I was like, do you want to come and hang out? And so we were friends.
See, that was really nice that you looked out.
We were friends, but she was older than me, and she wanted to, obviously, and she was a muso as well, so she loved music. So so just kind of, I was like her little support until she was able to go into, like, hang out with, people of her own age group.
How much strength you had, because you didn't, because some people probably would have, looked at that girl and gone, I feel sorry for her, but they probably wouldn't have done that. Whereas you reaching out and doing that,
I think, but that was ingrained. That was because that was what my family, on both sides of my family. Yeah. So the Greek side, that's what we did. We looked after people, made sure that people weren't hungry, and the same with my mum's side, the shepherds who are dairy farmers. We just always looked out for people, and I guess I don't know. It's not that I was like 100% secure, like I wasn't like the most amazingly confident kid, but I guess, I don't know, even though I didn't feel like I had the friendship circle for support, I had a really good family. Do you know what I mean? So I think we find our support wherever we can get it. Sometimes for some people it's not going to be your family.
That's right.
Yeah, but you might have... I just interviewed Emma Dean for the podcast, and she had, in her preteens, she had a really bad case of bullying, like people bullying her, which shut her down for a few years. She had an amazing teacher that was like, no, you're talented. I'm going to get you... I'm going to coach you back onto the stage. And there's always... Like, I believe in earth angels. There's always going to be an earth angel somewhere. Just be open to them. And it sounds like you've had like heaps of earth angels.
I've had heaps of,
in your life. You are an earth angel. No, you are. You're such a nurturing, caring soul. Yeah. And you see the best in people.
I try to be. I try to.
Yeah.
I really honestly try to, because you just don't know what people are going through.
Yeah, absolutely.
You don't know. So you just got to be kind.
Yeah.
You got to try to be kind. Sometimes it's hard. Sometimes I have days where I'm just like,
yeah, I think that's normal.
You dumbass.
Yeah.
But then it's sort of like.
But I don't know about you, but you try to find, everyone comes from a different life experience, and sometimes if you spend too much time trying to analyze people, that's all you'll be doing for the rest of your life. But you can kind of sort of get a bit of a background shot idea of people that are maybe transgressing. And then you go, okay, I don't like your behavior, but I've got a little bit of a context, Yeah. So if people want to find you and they want to find you for some singer-songwriter mentoring coaching, where do they go to? Go to Facebook?
Go to Facebook.
Yeah.
And it's Songwriting for Wellbeing.
Mm-hmm.
And then you'll click on the link.
Yeah, so the URL for the website is on that Facebook page. But go and give Victoria some love on that page. And are you okay with people reaching out and asking you questions?
Bloody oath.
Yeah. And just talking about how you can help them with their songwriting, because I know that there will be people listening that are like,
I would love to.
And can I just she is amazing. She is a phenomenal musician and performer, but also she's a phenomenal coach. She's been a life coach for many, many years. I think you just came out of the womb going, is that what how can I change your life? That was my terrible Scottish accent.
Don't worry, mine's really shit. It's I tried to say, so I tried to speak Scottish the other day, or tried to speak in a Scottish accent the other day at home, and my sister and my mum were just looking at me just like, that doesn't even sound anything. And I'm like, it does.
You sound racist. So please reach out. And Vic's also on Instagram. And if you want to check out Some Jerks, they're on Instagram and Facebook as well.
Bandcamp.
But please also check out You Can Bake. You Can Bake.
I do have a YouTube channel, which
Yeah, just YouTube You Can Bake.
A real low.
Uke and Bake.
U-K-E.
Why do I keep carrying on about this? I think I'm just really feel so smart that I finally got it. Yeah.
You can bake.
Oh, mate, thank you so much for being on the show. I'm sorry about the fly getting caught down your throat.
Right. That just adds to the show.
The charm. You too can be interviewed on the Fearless Singer podcast and get an extra serve of protein. That sounded a bit rude. All right, on that note, see you later.